Hello there, everyone. It's Stephen Ferris here. I'm up in Portrush at the minute. The north of Ireland is on, and someone who has played in the north of Ireland, James Sugrue, will be joining us in a minute. But it's the build-up, of course, in association with Ladbrokes. We're going to be talking all things that open at St Andrews, and there's no better man who's played that course as well. James Sugrue, thanks once again for joining us. You had an unbelievable tip for the US Open in Matthew Fitzpatrick, and I'm looking forward to hearing your advice that you're going to give to me to put on a few quid this week at the Open. But tell us a bit about the golf course at St Andrews. Looks like it's playing really hard and fast at the minute.
Yeah, luckily enough, we've had a tournament on there, an amateur tournament on there called the St Andrews Links. So I'd be fairly, I know it pretty well, along with a lot of other top Irish amateurs. We all would have went over there for years. It's obviously super course. It probably wouldn't be the hardest of courses. I think I was just looking at the weather before I came on, and I think it's supposed to be pretty good. Temperatures are up kind of low to mid 20s. It's supposed to get windy Wednesday, but that'll just give them a little taster of what it can be like. But I think from Thursday to Sunday, it's supposed to be okay. But as we know, it can change pretty quick. But I think if the weather is okay, it should be pretty good scoring. I would think, like off the tee, all you have to do is really keep it out of the bunkers. And I know that's easier said than done, but there isn't a whole pile of trouble. Finishing holes are like 17 is a great hole, requires a really good tee shot and a good second shot. 18 is probably one of the easiest holes on the course, so that's a good birdie chance. 16 is a good hole. But yeah, I honestly think that, again, all down to weather. If the weather cooperates, I think the pros should tear it up, to be honest.
Yeah, just on the golf course. So you go away to America, you know, when you're on tour, you go to all these different golf courses, surrounded by water, you know, thick rough everywhere. But what is the defense of this golf course? Because obviously it was, you know, made hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and the equipment has got better and better, but the rough isn't longer. You know, they can't just start digging a lake right beside greens to make things more difficult. So what is it? Is it that it'll play really hard and fast, and you might get a bad kick off the back of a green into trouble or into a bunker? Is that really it?
I think it kind of has two defenses, really, Stephen. One is the weather. You know, if it blows around there, it is going to be hard. Yeah. And the second one would be the bunkers. You know, as anyone that plays golf knows that, you know, links bunkers are not usually ones that you can hit it into off a tee shot and get a 6 or a 7 iron out of it onto the green. You know, they're usually pot bunkers, pretty much like hitting it in a hazard. You mentioned hazards there. That is their hazard. You know, if you hit it into one of those bunkers, you're just going to have to chop it out sideways and go from there.
And just links golf, I've seen all the pros have been Lahinch. Brooks Koepka's been up and played 4 rounds at Royal Portrush. His caddy, Ricky, is, you know, a local man here in Portrush. Does it take a while, if you're playing constantly on the PGA Tour and lush fairways, and, you know, does your swing have to alter it slightly? Are you a bit steeper when you're playing parkland golf courses? Do you have to sweep it off the hard surfaces more? Is it different when it comes to the bounce with chipping around the greens? Is there a specific reason why they're getting in a bit of practice over the last couple of weeks when here in Ireland?
I wouldn't say any of them will try and change their swing any bit just because they're playing links. Yeah. What they probably will do is get wedges with different bounces on them, you know, because when you're in America, you want, like, especially in St Andrews this week with the weather that's been there, it's going to be hard. It's going to be fast. The ground is going to be very hard. It's going to be like chipping off a road. You know, there's going to be no give underneath the ball. So they're probably going to change the bounces on their wedges. They wouldn't be, you know, like trying to get any steeper into it. I wouldn't have thought so anyway. It wouldn't be something that most coaches would be telling their players to do. But Yeah, no, I think as you said, like they've been here for long enough. They've been doing a lot of practice. A lot of them might have played the JP and have went all around Ireland or England or Scotland to play some other courses. So they're probably in tune with it now at this stage, I would be thinking.
One man that did turn up the JP's Pro-Am was Tiger Woods. He's teeing it up. He said earlier in the year that he wouldn't miss the 150th Open at St Andrews for the world. He's there. Could this be his last Open Championship at St Andrews?
Yeah, unfortunately I would probably say it will be. And to be honest, if he was to win a major, I think that it could be an Open, and especially an Open around St Andrews, where if you spray it a little bit, you might be okay. You can kind of hit it onto other fairways and things like that. It's going to, as I said, it's going to be firm and fast. So drives are going to be going pretty far. Like Jordan Spieth said the other day that if the weather is okay, it's just going to be a wedge contest. So he's a man that's historically been pretty good with wedge and pretty good with his putter as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I know he doesn't look the man that he used to be. After that accident, he just looks a bit, frail, and kind of his leg doesn't look great, to be honest. You probably might have seen the picture a couple of weeks ago without the sleeve that he has in his leg, and it doesn't look great. But, yeah, just so good to see him there. It'd be unreal to see him tee it up. Who is he playing? Is he playing with John Daly and Max Homa? Maybe not John Daly. He's playing with Max Homa anyway. I know that because he's one of the fellas that I kind of have fancy a little bit. So I think he'll be delighted to get that draw with Tiger as well. I think it'll give him a big confidence boost.
Yeah, somebody who obviously Tiger hasn't won that much in recent months or years, but somebody who's won very recently. Alexander Schauffele had won at the JP and he won the Scottish Open. He didn't have massive form, and then all of a sudden he gets a win under his belt, and it's when he hit, what did he hit? 4-iron into the 18th in the Scottish Open, and just like a 480-yard par 4, hardest hole on tour all year. I know, and he just needed a bogey, chipped it up, 2 putts, thanks very much. Is he somebody who you think, because he just seems to be dead-eye Dick straight with everything that he hits?
Yeah, he's obviously hard to look past considering he's just won the last 2 weeks. But in golf and in terms of betting as well, I think that there's, he's obviously, I think Rory's favourite and he's probably second favourite. He's probably under 10-1 or 10-1 in around that.
Yeah, 14-1 for Schauffele. 9-1 McIlroy was 10-1 there all week, so it just shows that there's a few quid being put on McIlroy. I'm not so sure about McIlroy because of the wind. He doesn't like playing in the wind. His wedge game has been inconsistent this year, albeit it has been pretty good in recent tournaments. But he's going to have to be dialed in. John Ram, who can't find any form at the minute, 16-1, and Spieth, who you talked about, he's also 16-1. Who is very handy with a wedge in his hand. But if you were to, for me, I went with, and the only reason I'm saying this is you maybe heard me on earlier on, James, is because Brooks Koepka's been playing Royal Portrush for the last 5 days. He had 4 really good practice rounds in. He played with the head pro there, a guy called Gary McNeil. He played with a guy who you maybe know, Matt McAlpine. He owns a wine bar in Portrush. He's a +2 golfer playing in the north this week, and they said he was so good. His ball striking was off the charts, and if he can hold a few putts, he's 33-1. So that would be my outside bet. Do you have an outside bet for this week?
I did actually. I did. I just had a quick look at it before I came on, and I did see his odds, and I was kind of shocked at the price he was, because we know he likes to turn up in a major as well, also. So he would be. I suppose the 2 guys before I came on that I had in mind were Jordan Spieth and Max Homa. I just think Spieth, I think even if it does get windy, I think I think he'll still love it. He top 10 last week. I just think that if it does become a wedge game, that like he's one of the best, if not the best wedge player and putter in the world. Get him inside, he's 10 feet and he's dangerous boy. And Max Homa as well, someone that I really, really have kind of followed over the last 2 years, just swings it beautifully. Really into his links golf. I was reading a thing last week that when he finished one of his rounds in the Scottish Open, he actually went out and played like a neighbouring links course and played 18 there as well. So he played 36 in the one day in the middle of the Scottish Open. So he's obviously getting really prepped for this week. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him. He's just kind of, he's good at everything. He's good wedge player, good putter, good iron player, good driver. Not really many weaknesses. Not sure of his price, but I would say maybe around the Koepka kind of mark. Maybe even a bit more. So yeah, him and Spieth are my two picks, I think, Steve.
Well, your pick for the US Open was pretty good in Matthew Fitzpatrick. Unfortunately, I didn't listen to your great advice and put a few quid on him. He's also teeing it up this week. He said that links golf, he used to love links golf a lot more, but since he started to hit it further, he's maybe been a little bit more wayward off the tee, and he seems to think that links golf doesn't suit his game as much in recent times. What's the reason for that? You're obviously involved. You love your links golf. You've won on links courses. What goes through it? Is it more of a mentality thing, or is it just to do with your swing?
I think it can be a mentality. Like when you think about it, they might play, 20 odd tournaments a year, and one of them will be on a links. So they're not used to it at all. Like Matt, obviously being from England, would have grown up playing links courses, playing championships in England that were on links courses. But yeah, like it can be tough for them to make the transition. Obviously, if you were on the PGA Tour and you were to pick, would I rather be good at links golf or good at parkland golf? You'd pick parkland golf every day of the week because you play all your tournaments bar one on parkland golf.
Yeah.
So they probably, all of their practice is on a parkland. They play mostly on a parkland. So for them to kind of come over here and play links, they're a bit of a fish out of water for most players, even the guys who may be born and grew up in England and Ireland or Scotland, like that are playing on PGA Tour. They're not home every second week out playing the links. They're over in Florida or wherever they're practicing, and they're playing parkland courses.
Are you getting over to St Andrews? You aren't heading over for one of the days, or?
No, I'm not, unfortunately. I just came home. When was it? A couple of days ago, and I must get. I was kind of half thinking about it, but unfortunately, my dog got hit by a car 2 days ago, so I must bring my dog up to a reconstruction specialist tomorrow in Cork City to try and get him fixed up. So that's my concern now.
Yeah, I'd say it is. You maybe need to go and see that Irish guy who's over in England now. What do you call him? The super vet.
Yeah.
You go and see him.
Yeah.
Well, wish you all the best with that, James. Never good. But what's your plan? What's your plan with the golf clubs at the minute? Where's your next tournament?
So I'm off for like a week and a half now, kind of, and my next one is Irish Challenge Tour in the K Club.
Yeah.
Which will be a great event. I've no doubt. Like the K Club is really on the up. Yeah. A lot of money being spent at it.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, the course is in phenomenal condition, and I've no doubt it will be a top class event on the Challenge Tour this year. So I've that, and then the week after that, I've Challenge Tour in Finland as well. So I'll be going straight from the K Club to Finland. So yeah, no, it's for all golf.
Are you playing Galgorm in August? Isn't it?
I don't think so. I must speak to my manager about it. I played it last year. I must get on to him about trying to get an invite. It'd be great. I'd love to play because I love Galgorm, and I was actually very impressed last year when I was there with how it was run and everything. It was just top class, I must say.
Yeah, happy days. Well, here, we'll not keep you. Thanks very much for joining us on the build-up in association with Ladbrokes, of course. Enjoy the 150th Open at St Andrews. I can't wait to watch it. I've just been glued to Sky Sports watching people just hit shots in the driving range for the last 2 days. I'm sure you're sick of watching that, but thanks very much for joining us. I'm sure we'll catch you later on in the season.
Cheers. Thanks, Stevie.